Zahu Gimel P'amim Kodesh. We discussed before the Sovev Kol Almim, Malach Kol Almim. So he says this is what we say 3 times Kodesh, because the 3 times Kodesh go on the 3 different worlds of Bria, Yitzira, Asiya, the Ishtalshalus, and the Sovev over these 3 worlds, the Makif over the 3 worlds is the 3 times Kodesh that we say. Zo Gimel Pamim Kodesh. This is that we say 3 times Kodesh, Kodesh, Pirush. So Hu Bechina So'er Makif, that is the Er Makif Shel Gimel Oil Meisabiyah. We have the 3 words of Yah, that's the level of Malach Kol Almim. And the Kodesh, 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 3 times represents the 3 Makifim for each one of the Olam Ezbiyah. U'k'meshekosum mizeh bebiur al-posik v'ato yigdal nohanal v'ayin mashekosum mizeh b'dibra maschil horem es matcha shederech klal beis b'chinas hanal, that generally these 2 levels that we learned before, we have the level of Rotzen, then you have the level of the Pnimi, you have the Perches Pnimim. These 2 levels, Nikra, B'chinas Seder Ishtalshalus, U'mashe L'mayla B'Seder Ishtalshalus. These are the 2 levels of the order of Ishtalshalus, and that which is higher than Ishtalshalus. Ishtalshalus B'yah Zeh Mizeh, because when it evolves as B'yah, from B'riyah to Yitzira, from Yitzira to Asiya, in a way V'ishtalshalus, Hainu Hishtalshalus Machshava Dibur Umaisa. So that is a Hishtalshalus of Machshava Dibur Umaisa, which means first you have something in your thought, and then from the thought it comes out to the speech, and then it comes out to action. That means a level of Hishtalshalus. So B'ri Yitzira Asiya, first comes B'riya, from B'riya develops into Yitzira, from Yitzira to Asiya. What is Machshava? Shamshochas Adibur Ma'Machshava Hu Nikra Ishtalshalus Chulu. The way Dibur comes from Machshava, it involves Machshava. V'chein ba'avodah, the same thing in Avodah, in the service of Hashem. You have Machshava, Dibur, Ma'isa. What happens? How does it work? Me'ha'izbonenus, from reflection, that's Machshava, Nimshach HaDibur. From that extends both the speech, Shumadaber v'divrei Torah, that you speak in words of Torah, v'asiya, the Ma'isa is the Ma'isa mitzvah, doing the Ma'isa mitzvah. Al-B'chinas, the Ma'ilum Ishtalshalus, but the level which is higher than Ishtalshalus, Zohar Rotzin, that's the level of Rotzin, Ru'uso de Liba, Rotzin al-Chulu. By Mashakosm is al-Posik mimono, Chulu v'rei v'Yisrael Chulu. Kitzah. Inyan Sovev Kol Almim b'nefesh, what is in the nefesh? The level of Sovev Kol Almim b'chinas harotzin. That's b'chinas kalgalta, that's the skull, me'oidcha. V'chein l'maylo, rotzin is Sovev Kol Almim. L'maylo, the rotzin, that's Sovev Kol Almim. So now we have the 2 levels. So Aleph, he talked about Malach Kol Almim. In Beis, he talked about the rotzin, he talked about Sovev Kol Almim. And now the idea of the Mishkan is to bring the Sovev into Memaleh. That's the idea of the Mishkan. To bring the level which is higher than Ishtalshalus into Ishtalshalus. Gimel, V'hinei, Zeu Inyan HaMishkan, B'chinas, B'shachanti, B'soicham. This is the idea of the Mishkan, so that I will dwell amongst them. Inyan, Oyel Moyed, what is the Inyan? The tent of meeting, Moyed. The tent of meaning is a union. It's a yichud. Inyan Oyel Moyed, Hainu, HaYichud, V'hamshochem, B'chinas, Sovev Kol Almim, B'malach Kol Almim. That is the union and the bringing down the level of Sovev into Malach. Zeu Inyan V'ne'adeti L'cho Shomo. Ne'adati means I will meet you over there. But really it means like I will be known to you over there, which is Loshen Hiskashrus. It's a Loshen of tying, connecting with Dveikus, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael. That's the Eibishter connecting. Aditi, Hashem connects to Yisrael. Meloshin va'odom yoda. The man knew Chava. It means that he was intimate. That means that it was connected with Chava. K'meshikosu b'divra maschil b'midbar sina b'amed anal u'b'divra maschil noso idiliyah. V'zeu inyan hahiluch the b'chinas b'halchim bein ha'imdim. This is the idea. You say in the pasuk, it says the level of soviv, the level to bring down, the level of higher than hishtalshlus, the level of rotzen, that is the level of walking, which means you go on a much higher level. There is a level where there's oimdim. You're just standing on the same place. That means hishtalshlus. It's still connected to one to another. It's all aimed in. But the mahalchim is to go higher, which is that connection from soivev to bring down a mallet to go on a much higher level of soivev. That halicha, when you say to go, so you're going, there is kinui el hazivuk. That's another name for zivuk, to go to hoylech al haderech. Going on the road is yisoid the nukva berega mevarecha she yisoid that kavashon. Not sure exactly the teacher, but the bottom line is this is all a connection of intimacy from the yichud to bring a connection from the Ein Sof with the world. So says in the Maskil, it says Eine koil elecho yisaberu. Over there it says the Pirush Noida Bashorim Bailo. So her husband was Noida Bashorim. Through the different gates, the Bailo was Meyached, the Noida, that's the level of Das, Hodom Yoda. Noida Bailo, her husband was Misyached with, united, was intimate with the Knesset Yisrael, Pirush. Noida Losh Yichud V'Zivuk. It means union and mating. V'zeu v'yodata hayom v'ashevei selavecha chulu. It means you should know today. Know today means you should connect today and pay to Ein Shom. That's in the Mamer. B'hainu Bashorim. This is why we say Bashorim, that he's known Haim Nun Shari Bina. Those are the 50 gates of Bina. That's the Shorim. Hanim Shochim Meyach Bina Lalev. They come from the brain of Bina to the heart. So that's the gates to which the connection is made. V'zeu Eine Koil. Eine Koil Elecho Yisaberu. It says there, Eine Koil. So, Al Derech. So this is what the Koil is from Loshen Kalo. So, Al Derech, Alev Roye, when the heart sees, so then he has a desire for what he sees. And when it's absorbed inside the heart, what he sees, what the heart sees, as I nikras kala, then she is called a kala. That's a nikoil, like the kala. Is a gamkin. So if you ramaschel ki seitze chulu, eishes yufas toyar chulu beinyan va'achar kach tove yalo ba'alto. That after there is, the pasuk says that you should be later on intimate. The hainu bechinas mesiras nefesh. That's the level of mesiras nefesh. So that's the yichud that comes. It's all example of mating of a real connection between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Yid. Who inyan nefilas apayim u'b'chinas ne'ilah k'shugumar aliyas ad kan l'shoneh. So this is all I'm just wondering where is this is. It says ad kan l'shoneh. This is all in that Mamer, apparently. This is all in that Mamer, in the Mamer Divrei Maschel in Nikoil. That's the only quote I see here. Okay, this is all part of that Mamer that he quotes from Doing a lot of quoting over here. The time of the Beis Hamikdash was in existence. This level of the Ratzon Halev was extended in the room of the Kodesh HaKadoshim that inspired the people for that level of Ruhus Ratzon Halev. To be battled your wishes for Hashem. So you become a level of desire. Basically, that level of the Ratzon Halev to want to connect to Hashem came from the revelation that took place in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. And then we become an Eretz Chayfetz, we get that Ratzon. Behainu, ki Chayfetz zehu hatainug u'pnimis haratz. Chayfetz is the delight, is the pleasure, and the inner of the Ritzon. Sha'odam yiyeh, that the person should be in a way of kala she'edu levavi, that his body and his heart should totally expire to Hashem. So, al derech moshel hayichud, this is by way of example, the union b'chinas vel ishech tshukosich, that your yearning is for your husband, the pasuk says, v'hu meravet tziboy, and he quenches his thirst. The Eibishter basically quenches the thirst from Knesset Yisrael through that Ratzon. So inyan yizbu v'isagum tuvecha. That's the inyan that we say they will be satisfied and delight from your goodness. Or the other pasuk that says oz tisaneg al Hashem chul. So b'zeu inyan b'nei kos. So this is the idea of the b'nei kos. Shemamshichim ha'oir pnimi b'chinas tari v'chefetz. They bring down the inner light in a way of the light of the chefetz. Ubnei gershim mamshichim harotzin v'makif. The oir pnimi, like the two levels we said before, the mamale and seviv. So the b'nei kos, they are mamshich the oir pnimi in a way of tainug v'chefetz, and the b'nei gershim bring the harotzin makif. Hine Amr Azal Ashkechon Mishkan the Ikri Migdosh. We find that the Mishkan is called Migdosh. The pasuk, usually we know that the Mishkan in the desert was called a Mishkan. It was like a tent. It was like oil made of the Mishkan. But we also find V'asuli Migdosh. So it means we find that the Mishkan is called a Migdosh. So it seems like there's two levels. There's a level of Mishkan and there's a level of Migdosh. The Mishkan is called Migdosh. So there's two aspects. Mashma, Shem Shnei B'chinas. Shem Shnei B'chinas. It's Mashma, these are two levels. Mishkan Ikri Migdosh. Still, it's a different level, but still the Mishkan is called Migdosh. What's the idea? It's Kemeshikosu B'Torah Eir HaPosik. So over there it says Sham Mishkan Hoyo Diras Aray Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Mishkan was a temporary dwelling place for Hashem. VaMikdash Hoyo Diras Kva. Over there was permanent. It's explained about this in the Posik Matov Yaakov. So I did like this. The Posik says, Zacharti loch chesed ne'urayich, ahavas kluloi soyich, lechtich achrei bamidbar. So that was the level when Yidden went after Hashem in the desert. Shekol zeh hoyo bamidbar. It says lechtich achrei. They go behind in the midbar. This was the level of Mishkan, we're saying. This was shohoyu bamidbar. Shekol's man shohoyu bamidbar. For as long as they were in the desert, hoyu adayin b'vchinas ocher ba'ocher. The connection to Hashem was in a way of a back-to-back. Baru b'mikdash, later on in the Beis HaMikdash, when it was built, hoyu b'vchinas ponim b'ponim. Then it was like face-to-face. Kein kosu b'meir eir, eis mem sif nun zayin b'sif peites. Ubchinas, what does it mean? Ocher ba'ocher. When we say a connection of back to back, hanubchinas is kafia levad. That represents the level of to bend. You bend yourself to Hashem. Abo b'chinas ponim b'ponim, but the level of ponim b'ponim zeu ksheyovel libchinas is habchach hashech l'nei. That is when it turns around. Not only you bending, but you turn it around. That's the level of the Beis HaMikdash. So in the Mishkan, it was in a way of iskafia, and that's the level of his habchach. So inyan eretz chayfetz. This is the idea of an eretz chayfetz. So which means in Eretz Yisrael we call it a land of chayfetz, desire, because over there it's ponim beponim. Which because of the Oyer Pashas Tetzave, the Ramaschal Zochad Amalek. Okay, so because there was a level of iskafia, you needed to struggle. It wasn't given, so you needed the Levim to raise the Mishkan all the time when it was not strong enough. You need the Levim to raise the Mishkan. The Mikdash was permanent, but the Mishkan, while they were in the desert, that needed to be raised. You needed the Levim to raise the Mishkan. When the Mishkan rested, then the Levim raised it. Pirush. What does it mean? When the Mishkan rested, what does it mean? When the Mishkan went down from its level, then it's raised through the Levim. When there is a descent, then they're raised through the Levim. The Hainu, the Nishmas Ha'adam Lamato, the soul of the person below, that a shine when dresses up in the body, in the animal soul. This is the advice how to get yourself back from that descent in which the shine is. You have to deal with the body. Is to arouse for your soul the levels of holy gevuras. They divide to 3 levels. Gersh and Kosum Merori, those are the 3 Melech Moshe Yisboil. And through this gevuras Yakim Boisa, they will raise the Mishkan. V'hainu, and that is lahaloisoi, to elevate it from its descent, liyes davuk b'lekim chayim, to be connected to Lekim Chayim. That's the avodah of the Levim. When the Mishkan goes down, is to raise it. Al derech shenisboyer al posik eile b'kudei hamishkan Mishkan ha'edus chulu. Avodas halevi. This is all in the pasuk. Yidei avodas halevi shu ashir, through the service of the Levi, which is the song. V'hu inyan. What's the next word there? Shu ashir. I think there's missing a vav. Vav hey, vav ayin, or vav hey ayin. Plain.
No, it says vav hey ayin.
That's it. Psukkah de Zimra. Okay. So Shu ashir v'hu inyan Psukkah de Zimra. The song, which is Psukkah de Zimra, is the level of song. Hey mailim chinas hamishkan. They elevate the level of Mishkan, Shul Malchus. They elevate Malchus, the B'chinas Mishkan Ha'edus. Bring it and they make it a Mishkan Ha'edus. Hainu Avo, to the level of Avaim, which is Chochma Bina, which is Trein Rein Chulu, which are two friends that stick together, Chochma Bina. That's B'chinas Yudke. So they raise it to the level of Yudke. Zoh ki inyan haniskar b'zoyer chelik aleph in vayeshev davku pegimol soifo mit beis al pasuk ki'ir shechub lo yagdu b'chulu. Al derech ze amrazal ashkichon mishkan di'ikri migdash. We find the mishkan is called a migdash. Why? Because when they elevate it, they turn it into the level of migdash. They bring it up to the level of yudke. So now the mishkan becomes a migdash. Pirush. Like the pasuk says that the Medrash says that the Eibishter keeps on calling her. First, he calls her my daughter, and then he calls her my sister, then he calls her my mother, because this is the level of the elevation to the higher level. Kitzer, inyan hamishkan hu inyan hayichud hanikra hiluch. That the mishkan is the idea of yichud, which is called hiluch because you connect to Sefer. Any coil, which becomes a level of kala when it connects with the person, is kala. Noida bashorim baila, so that it's connected through the gates of bina baila. Eretz chayfetz tainum, level of tainum velishach chukosit. Mishkan diras arai b'chinas iskafia. The mishkan is a temporary dwelling, a level of iskafia. Ba'ocher ba'ocher. That's a level of back to back, which is lechtech acharai. That's going the behind. Migdash is habcha. The migdash is level of habcha, which is ponim beponim. L'chein ubachanoisa mishkan yakim oisa levim. When it mishkan rest, they raise levim. Kudei hamishkan ha'edus al David's levim. So the mishkan becomes a mishkan ha'edus through the levim. Kir shechuva. Dalet. This arousal of the supreme will, so that a person should arouse that Kodesh, the level of Makiv, we wanted to rest by you. The person should feel the level of Makif, that level of the Rotzen of Hashem should be in his intestines, inside. That is brought down through the Gershon. He said before the three sons of Gvuris. So this is level Gershon. They were carrying the panels of the Mishkan. As the Pasuk says, Mishkan. They carried the panels of the Mishkan, the oil moy. Mamer azal b'medrash, and the results that medrash ekmoy shenemar, just like the pasuk says, noitek shamayim kayiriya, the Eibishter stretches out the sky like a panel. Kachu inyan niriyas hamishkan. Says also niriyas hamishkan. So basically, behind this level of Sev Kulam, the level of Yiri is the level of Sev Kulam. It basically means that the Bnei Gershom that carry the Yiri, they bring down that level of Ermakiv. The level of Yiri is the level of Sev Kulam. Meshikosuv al posik yiriyas shleimus if the maschil shcheran even over. And through bringing down this level of the Ermakiv, the level of Rotz, the Seirus, the level of Sevuk Lamim, you chase away the bad. The Pasuk says, Toiv lachsis b'Hashem, Chulu. It's good to trust Hashem. And then it says, B'Shem Hashem ki amilam. Amilam means I cut them down. Shahamakiv, when you bring on the makiv, Mesamei einei chachitzonim, that blinds the eyes of the external ones, which means the klippers. The makiv blinds them. When you bring down the level of makiv, pushes them away. So, Bezehu Pirush Gershom, this is the meaning of the word Gershom. Gershom means to chase away. Gorish, Maloshin, Vayigorsheyu Vayelach, he chased them away and he left. Chulu, Shemagarish Asarasha Bikirvei, that you chase away the bad which is in you, Alidei Bittel Ritzoinoi, by subjugating your wishes. You bring in the Ratzon, the will of the Supreme, and you are mevatel your own ritzonos. Mamer Azal, as our sages tell us, batel ritzonecha mipnei ritzoinei. You should negate, push away your wishes because the wishes of Hashem. The chulu means chulu. Shevatel ritzoinei mipnei rotzon elyon. That you negate your own wishes because of the wish of Hashem. Hein b'chinas urmeira. Whether it's in the level of staying away from evil, that he shouldn't will want them at all, and also in the level of wanting good, doing good, that both ways, that he should want that which he did not want. So he did not want godliness, he does not want to learn Torah, he wants to, wants to do other things, he shouldn't want. So through negating your wishes, you turn your nature. That you change it from bitter to sweet. As mentioned earlier, that the rotzen dominates all the limbs of the body. He can turn the nature, as I said before. And therefore, when he is mevatel his want, because the want of Hashem, then he can turn around actually his teva. Because one push can go beyond. If you want something that is beyond what you choose and you know, as mentioned earlier, das kenal, as we said earlier, the foot has no choice at all. If you want to put in your foot in the hot water or the cold water, it listens. When he wants to put it in fire, it does so immediately. He has no choice. The regel doesn't have any choice by itself. Because wanting is higher than choosing in das. I want to do it, and that's the way it is. I say it so noi. First, before you nullify your rotzen, you have to first make that your will should be that's the lower level of rotzen, which is according to the intellect, and that's in a way of Memalukul Almin, which is in a way of B'chol Nafshecha, with all your soul. So first you start Aser Tzemcha, Achar Kach, and then Batel Tzemcha. U'B'chinas Bitl V'Avora L'Gamri, that's a subjugation told the so that the Rotzen Elyon should shine in the person. That's the idea of the panels of the Mishkan. The Pirush Hashamayim Kisi B'dibra Maschil Ki Kashermayim Chadoshim Chulum. ולכן מתחילה צריך להיות בני מרורי מקימים הקרושים. First, the Merori have to raise the Kroshim. They have to make B'chinas Atzi Shitim Oimdim. They have to make him standing. Zahu Inyan B'chol Nafshecha. That's in B'chol Nafshecha. First, there is the Pnimi. They have to have standing up. Shazoni Oimdim. That's called Oimdim. Chai Havaya Asher Amadati Lefono. ואחר צריך להיות, then as we say, מהלכים בין העמדים. והיינו עניין יריס המשכון. That's יריס המשכון. What do we say? אך מהלכים, בייס בחינס, הילוך. זהו עניין גרשן וחוס, למטה למיילו ומייל למטה. This is also סלחתי בסייכם, בייס בחינס, הילוך. The same thing is above, actually. That the Hashem's supreme will, it's higher than B'chidas, or Pirush. Shabchira, who bedas. You choose something, you use your das, your knowledge. In your mind, you choose the good and you refuse the bad. How do you examine what is good, what is bad? Das tells you that you should choose Chaim. The choice that you chose Chaim, that's through the knowledge that you understand, you distinguish that the life is good for you and the death is bad for you. So that's what you choose. This Bechira, which is in Das, is called Bechinas Eitz HaDas. It's called the Eitz HaDas. That's the tree of good and bad. You can choose good and bad. But Hashem's supreme wills, that's higher than choosing in Das. It's higher than Tzad. Okay, now, I said before in the Moshel, the Rotzen can do against the nature. If he wants, he can put the foot in the fire. If he wants to, doesn't have any choice. This subjugation of his will, that he negates his will for the will of Hashem, blessed. That's higher than the level of Das. Choosing is in the level of Das. That comes from knowledge. But the level of Rotzen is higher than Das and the Bechira that I mentioned before.